Sometimes I do forget how good the Lemoan is to me. Since the NC500, I haven't checked under it, checked in it, checked anything. Put a new battery on it. And look at that. Bone dry. Which means one or two things. It's either not leaking anywhere, coolant, gearbox oil, engine oil, power steering fluid, or it has none of those fluids in it. Yes, one of those. All I wanted to do in preparation for Pugfest was change a bulb. And here we are with the bumper off, headlights out, grille off. Great. That's just great. Okay, I've always wanted to do this, is have the front fogs on the 306 pretty much useless. Eventually I want twin front fogs where there's an angel eye to match my new angel eyes. Did I mention that, by the way? And then a spotlight, which I can trigger by relay. So I wanted this one, which is quite hard to find. Cabriolets and some early ones have them in the rallies. But because they're the single optic, they turn off dipped, which you don't want on this. So we've used the backing off this one onto the back of this one, if you can see. And that gives us the twin optic click. It basically keeps a dip beam on when you put main beam on. So yeah, so there's a little hack for that if you ever have that issue. Or you buy a stalk and it's single optic, you just switch the backs over, and they're not normally exactly worn out, there's not much to them, but there's a pin that goes across on this one. You can solder it across. If you've got a spare back, just flip that across. So the only problem with that is you'll need to flip the wires across for the fog light, which is just 2 here on those pins. Solder them over onto there, and yeah, Robert's your mother's brother. Well, you haven't seen much of this car. It MOT'd and then we had a little off up a verge. Don't worry, we still have the side trim there. It got a little bit of a scuff here and there, and we lost some bits of trim, but we'll fix all that. But it damaged a brake line, and the brake lines needed doing anyway. We're now at the point of no return. Well, no point of no return? Yeah, not going back to square one. Brake lines, old, rusted, rubbish. We've made some good connections halfway along the body, and now we're doing what I should have done ages ago, which is strip down stuff off the back here, underseal this boot floor properly, well, underseal this boot floor, and then put new brake lines in, and yeah, that'll be golden. And we're going to just scrape off some scabbiness underneath the car and underseal it as well. Just a few places where the underseal is peeled away. We're going to try and fix up on that, and then put it all back together again, because this is, oh, and we've got a new arch liners for the front left and rear right, and we're going to take the arch liners out, and we're going to just get rid of all this scabbiness and clean it all up, underseal it, because this is going to go to a friend, a new owner, who will actually use it regularly. Brakes won't keep going rusty, probably keep it slightly cleaner than I do, and enjoy it, because currently, well, I do love it, but I'm not enjoying it because I'm not using it. So he will use it. So I'm sure you'll still see it around. Yeah, there's the big announcement. Way big announcement. Okay, it's like -1. My fingers are freezing, and I need to get on with trying to warm up some underseal, scrape off all the rust underneath, derustify it, and crack on. So that's all looking lovely for the new owner. Undersealed, hammer-righted, cable tied back in. I do want to change those dampers at some point, but exhaust readjusted once again so it doesn't bang on anything and scrape on the floor. Side skirts back on. We've done some nice little brackets with some riv nuts rather than the rivets that were in there. So that's good. Arch liners have arrived, but we're going to do the front end separately. Let's get this side down and do that other arch. New arch liner in there, undersealed. Show what that looks like. A little bit of underseal on that side and clipped up the battery. Good to go. There's our cheap but new replacement arch liner. We had to do some modifications to it to match the old one, because it usually comes down to kind of here and would rub on the wide wheels. But she's in, and just fixed on behind there the both clips for the rubber bend for the filler weren't very good, so we fixed on that and undersealed, as you can see, rubbed all the rust back, treated it, undersealed it. So we've got to underseal this side, underside here, and then move on to the front bumper, fixing all that up. Whew. Doing all of this and I'm not really going to benefit from it, but hey, I'll feel good, and that's the important bit. Right, and just chucked a basic coat. Could do with 2, I suppose, but there's not really much rust. It's like surface rust in a few places, so we've scraped it down, rust treated it, and coated it. Okay, it's now dark. I met at the end of the day. Let's do the front tomorrow afternoon once I've finished work, and I'm tired. Yeah, we'll do that. So it's time to bring this front end back to some sort of former glory. We've done the old drift repair on the bumper there, and that adds a little nice touch, I think. So now we need to add on canards or canards or canary boards or ankle slicers, whatever you want to call it. And we've got a skirt to go on, and on the front, and then we'll whip the bumper off and just check. I think it just took a little hit over there as we hit the verge, and just repair on the daytime running light things that I've done. Then a brake fluid change. Maybe we'll put the under tray on, and might actually switch out for the other lights again. Don't know yet. We'll see. But for now, that's what we're going to do. Right then. It looks better, as in more like it did before. Better is obviously a matter of opinion, but you know, looking mean again. So next step is just to whip the bumper off now, make some repairs to the fog light or daylight running light holder things, and check horn and refit the grille. So yeah, gonna do that. Right, quick update. Found that. Don't know how I missed that, but it was very broken. So we'll order new one of those to fit. Front bumper's all on. Might have already shown that in a previous video. It's all plugged in again. It's all bolted together nice. We've done the undersealing in some spots which were a bit crusty, and yeah, it's a bit crusty down there. Gonna have to look at that in maybe a couple of years' time. The same on this side where you put all the water, it just kind of goes crusty down there. We repaired behind that. We've cleaned up the hubs, put some grease on bits and bobs there. That's all together that side. We've just finished doing the brake fluid. So that's a nice fresh brake fluid through the whole system, not just bleeding the rears. So that's nice. Let's top that up to its final resting place until we find a leak. Lovely, that'll do nicely. I need to clear all this out, I know. So now, with the brake fluid changed and everything ready to kind of go back on other than this, we've had some pipe work arrive, so I can finally redo this mess, which is very, very cheap, like induction kit from China, like 20 quid, universal thing. I don't even think it's metal, I think it's mostly plastic. So we're going to continue the stainless, which is here, past the MAF, with some couple of bits we've got up here. So we better get up to scratch with some TIG work. Nice big stainless 90, and a stainless 30 degree, and we'll be away. I think that's 30 degree, might be 45. No, I think it's 30 degree. And it'll be something like that. So there we go, that's how we'll do that. We've got some test pieces to just tune in the welder. And then we'll look about putting the under tray and the under little bits onto it and start tidying up the engine bay. Not too much, you know, I could go mad, but I just want to tidy up a few bits, polish up a few things, put a new rubber seal along there. Going to try and seal that off as well, been meaning to do that for years. And then chat to the new Guardian whether he wants to keep these lights. I don't know how good they are in the dark, or put the other ones back on. And then a good clean. A couple of tidying bits inside to do. But for now, let's see if we can make that better. So that's what we did have. Very, yeah, I don't know if it's plastic or metal or what really, but maybe metal. It's done its job, but it just never was very nice. So by the magic of editing and a lot of blood, sweat and tears, next shot, nice new unit, installed, proper brackets, cleaned up filter. Let's do this. And there we go, by the magic of editing, we have a clean oiled filter, looking a bit tired, but supposedly lifetime, so use the proper K&N stuff as well, so hopefully it should be good. Nice bit of stainless pipe with a nice stainless bracket, with a couple of little bends in it just to allow for a little bit of flex and vibration. So rather than breaking anything, it just allows a little bit of vibration. You could connect to the chassis leg here, of course, but this is fixed to the engine. So I want it to move with the engine. It's got a bit of got a good bit of room around it. What I was considering doing, I might still do it, is put a clamp around it and a little exhaust, like rubber, just to allow a little bit, but I think it'll be alright. There's not much weight in it. There we go. Very simple thing, but it took me a couple of hours to sort out. But there we go. It's done now. Now we can put the arch liner all back in, and it looks a bit scruffy under there, but we've sealed everything up and AC 50'd it all. And it's looking good under here. No leaks, no bends, no breaks, no... it's a bit crusty, but that's all. And we just got to put an anti-roll bar link in, because this one said bye-bye. Yes, say bye-bye. Cool, right. Arch liner in, anti-roll bar link, get the under trays back on, fix the bottom of the bumper back on, and we can drop this bad boy back down the floor. Get it moving, clean up these discs. Yuck. Right, and then we've got an arch liner in. This is an auto dock, like, it's a cheap kind of arch liner, but it has the basic shape of what we needed. It does kind of fit, and I needed to trim it anyway, so I've heated it up and trimmed it to fold it in, so at least there's some protection up there rather than just slicing it off halfway along and just all the muck goes up in the wing. And had to slice it there just to mould it in, because these wings are heavily stretched out. It should be okay. Can't see why not. I've improved on putting riv nuts in instead of just plastic things. And there's the under section as well, screwed in and sort of warmed up. Partly why I went for these cheap ones as well to replace, so you can warm them up and you can just shape them on how you want them. So there we go, that's good. Right, anti-roll bar link, wheel on, and that suspension wheel's underside all done. Oh, I need to put the under tray on. Under tray on, and then the anti-roll bar, and then we can work at tidying up the engine bay a little bit, bracket for one or two things, tidying up some of the edges, give it a clean. Because, it'd be good if we could just clean some of this out, wouldn't it? Nice. Yeah. Lovely. Okay. There you go, there's the update. And there we go. A complete, very rare 306 under tray fitted, clipped onto the side sections, bolted on at the back, and we made this plate across the front there, so it pinched up real nice. And that little section there to help air into the radiator sorted, so the underside is done. Amazing. I mean, obviously I could go on forever, couldn't I? But I've basically sold it to a mate, and well, this is good enough for now. It'll collect all the leaks. Ha! There's no leaks, by the way. It's not dripping a drop of any fluid or whatsoever, because there's none in it. Cool. Right, let's do that anti-roll bar link. Let's just sit in there with that hole doing nothing, and then we can bang that wheel on, get it on the ground. Woohoo! Shiny parts on rusty parts. Cool. Get the wheel on, and this can sit on its wheels again. Nice! And let's get on with tidying the inside and the engine bay, and put the windscreen trim on and cleaning it, and then test driving it and hoping everything's okay. Yay! So you might remember, if you're an avid watcher follower, we reinstalled some swirl flaps to see if it helped the cold starting. A few people claimed it would, so we fitted them. Made no difference whatsoever. So we're going to delete them again, so they're not just flapping around in there. I often have them set with a cable tie. Let's just gut them out again. We're not needing them. We've got nothing to connect to, so let's remove them, and that's done. All right, that's the engine bay back together. Other than giving it a jet wash out and a clean, it's kind of it done. Seal on the radiator, all the nuts and bolts that I've taken off, all cleaned and greased. I probably won't polish much aluminium, as it just goes dull in the winter here very quickly, but we'll maybe give it a wipe over. I might do an oil change. It's actually not due, but I was just thinking I might do. Don't know, depends on time on that. Nice little bracket here to hold our gearbox breather and fill. Quite pleased with that. A little bracket here to hold the boost pipe. Little bracket comes off there. Gives it a little bit of movement, the rubber mount, but it was just like cable tied here, so that makes it look a bit neater. And then we've got our overflow going via a little bracket as well. A few other little brackets here and there holding a new fuel hose. It was just a bit of coolant hose. A nice little loop and a little bracket. Out and some new clips on the fan, because it's kind of just cable tied on. It got loose on a holiday. Loads more I'd like to do, little tidying up jobs, but it's not my project anymore, it's actually someone else's, basically. So that's it for the engine bay, tidy. I was thinking about putting an engine cover on it, but actually, I suppose I should give it, its credit and try and do it clean. But even if I painted it and stuff, I actually don't think it's not like it's a really cool engine cover, is it? I mean, it'd probably take me a couple of hours to prepare it and paint it, and then for what benefit? Probably none at all. That looks just stupid, doesn't it? In my opinion, it looks better like that. Dunno. Comment below. Right. Let's put a shut door for that for now. Some people might recognise that bonnet badge, the other one was damaged. Got to do the window trim. So rip off the two side pieces, clip on the new one, and then we're going to the interior to finish a couple of jobs in there, and then give it a wash, because it is very much in need of a wash. Most grubby. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Clean all this out and fit the new window trim. Oh, hang on, that's one piece. It's meant to be one piece all the way around, but they tend to kind of fail up here, and mine did and disappeared once, never to come back again. Yeah. We might go and jet wash that out now. I'm not putting a new trim. Yeah, let's go and jet wash that and then put the trim in, and then we'll go inside and clean the inside and tidy a few little bits of trim that are just coming apart a little bit. Right, that looks a bit better. Proper window trim all the way around. Took it on a test drive, felt okay, once a wheel alignment, unsurprisingly, and boost hose popped off. So good times. So pop that back on. We're now going to just adjust on the seat and adjust on the interior, a few bits that just trims I've always been bothered about. Sort some wiring out just with some cable ties that have been dangling down. And then clean it, wheel align it, and then another test drive. Getting there. Yeah, so things escalated slightly. I noticed the seat wasn't quite sitting right when I test drove it. I just thought it wasn't clicking in. It wasn't clicking in because this side had sort of bent and collapsed and the seat wouldn't move. So I've managed to wrangle the seat out, but there's a break in a weld here. This bracket here is bent. So we're going to do some and fix it, and then it'll not be bent. Basically, I'm sitting like this in the car. Not anymore. I can only presume that maybe there was some weakness there. The seat has never quite railed forwards and backwards sweetly, and then when we had a little bump on the ground, huge amount of weight that I am, being a pig, it bent it. So let's fix it. It's not the prettiest, but there was a split through there and a split behind here. That's been welded up, and then we put a supporting bar in there, just a piece of thick steel, welded that in, and then this bracket that it bent, it's obviously a weak spot, so we put a little piece of supporting steel across there as well. Hopefully that's all square. Let's get it in the car, and well, then we'll find out, won't we? And connect all the airbags, which of course work just fine. Something I've been trying to get around to doing for years, literally. Tidy these wires and put a proper plug on this that will hold these better wires. So I've got one of these nice plugs that should sit in there quite neatly, and then I've disassembled the plug, but I'll show you in a minute. It's going to be much better than that, I promise. Much better. Right. Well, that looks a darn sight better, doesn't it? Why do you always do these things when you're about to hand a car over to someone else? I've wanted to do this for years. I know it doesn't exactly look professional still, but it stops wires hanging down, and we've got a proper audio connector, like so. It handles bigger wires. So my intention, long term, was obviously to continue these more better wires behind from this connector into an amp that's hidden under the back seats and power them properly, which maybe one day I'll still do, or maybe I'll do it in the daily. But there we go, that's that sorted. We need to dry out the boot floor. I'd left this loose and leaked in. Dry out the boot floor, clean it, and that's rear end done. I do like how original this is. Original underlay under here. I've just cleaned it because it was getting all a bit wet and mouldy. With the original flooring and all floor clips, all four floor clips in place, and this vehicle came with the Isofix as well, all in place still. Pretty cool. There's always the little things that take time, but we have given it a hoover. We're going to give it a wet vac while the heavens stop wet vacking the ground, and yeah, it's looking a lot better. We've cleared out all the cubby holes and everything, you know. Looking not too shabby, let's be honest. And then I noticed the EMP gauge not working. So did two things. One, we did some testing and I found two problems actually. And I've never changed it, so it was kind of on the cards. But this is like a filter, and it was one, leaking, which told you there's obviously a bit of a blockage too. This was basically just blocked up. Place that, Fram filter number, whatever that is. Which goes in line behind the dash to protect the gauge, but the little coil of copper pipe, I don't know if you can see it very well, was completely clogged up as well. Couldn't clear it, and then as I started touching it, it kind of fell apart. So we've put a new coil in, which is hard to tell, but it's basically down the back there. You just see the edge of it. New coil pipe in, new filter, EMP gauge working great. Just done an oil change on it. So all that's left to do, I think, if I'm not wrong in saying so, is to wet vac, give it a clean, take it on a last drive, and then hand it over. Man, I love this car. Final couple of jobs now. We've done the proper trim. I realised that when the people replaced my windscreen, they removed the plastic trim which clips onto the top of the window, and that's what this then clips into, which is why I lost the original. So that's back to normal after who knows how long. I need to just wet back the front seats. Just done a final job. I wasn't happy. I kept adjusting the handbrake and I wasn't happy. That is my spare replacement, my very last offside replacement caliper, which is all perfect. It's all been greased and adjusted and everything. And this is why I didn't notice that when the wheel took an impact up, this contacted with the inner arch, and there's a little dent in it. I don't think much of it, but look, it broke the casting. So when you do handbrake things, nothing happens here. So I had no handbrake on the one side. I wondered why it was acting up weird. So yeah, that's it. I'm out of calipers now because I replaced the other one as well. So that's the last jobs to do. And then I'm going to take it for a drive, last drive, and give it a clean, and then hand the keys over to the new guardian of the Lemoan. Ooh, that could make a good video.